Building a PC is often described as Lego for adults, but that's a half-truth that hides a jagged reality. In Lego, a brick is a brick. In the world of high-performance computing, calling a component by the wrong name isn't just a minor slip of the tongue. It's the difference between building a dream machine and a digital paperweight. Today, we're going to tear down the wall of jargon, specifically the Great Wall of graphics. We are going to dive deep into the silicon soul of your computer to understand why the words GPU and graphics card are treated like twins, even though one is the heart and the other is the entire body. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the alphabet soup of NVIDIA, AMD, VRAM, and APU, pull up a chair. We're going to turn that confusion into clarity. To understand where we're going, we have to understand why we're lost. The PC building community is one of the most passionate on the planet, but it suffers from a chronic ailment, the jargon problem. When a beginner enters this world, they aren't just met with hardware. They are met with a linguistic barrier. Technical terminology is thrown around with reckless abandon. We talk about clock speeds, bus widths, and thermal throttling, as if they were common household terms. But the real danger isn't the complex words, it's the words that seem simple but are used incorrectly. In the realm of graphics, this linguistic laziness creates a ripple effect. A new builder hears a veteran say, "My GPU is overheating," while pointing at a massive triple-fan beast of a card. The beginner then goes to buy a GPU online and finds themselves looking at a raw silicon chip, or, worse, a CPU with integrated graphics, and wonders why the prices and shapes don't match. This confusion isn't because the concepts are impossible to grasp. It's because we've allowed our language to become muddy. To build a great PC, you must first build a great vocabulary. Without it, you aren't just building a computer. You're gambling with your budget. Let's get surgical. To understand the graphics card, we must first isolate its most vital organ, the GPU. The graphics processing unit, GPU, is a specialized processor. If you were to peel back the fans, the plastic shroud, and the heavy metal heatsink of a graphics card, you would find a small, square piece of silicon in the center. That is the GPU. Think of the GPU as a specialized genius. In the computer world, it has a brother, the CPU, Central Processing Unit. They are both processors, but they have completely different personalities. The CPU is like a world-class philosopher or a grandmaster chess player. It handles a few very complex tasks at a time, things like the logic of a game, the AI of an enemy, or the physics of a falling building. The GPU, however, is like an army of 10,000 laborers. It doesn't want to solve a complex philosophical puzzle. It wants to do 10,000 simple math problems at the exact same second. Every time you look at a screen, your computer has to decide the color and brightness of millions of pixels. The GPU is the engine that calculates those pixels simultaneously. This is why, when you're replaying a game, and the image looks choppy or the frame rate is low, your laborer army, the GPU, is overwhelmed. But if the game world feels slow, if the enemies aren't moving intelligently or the loading is sluggish, that's your philosopher, the CPU, struggling to keep up. Understanding this distinction is the first step toward diagnosing any tech problem. Now that we know what the GPU is, let's talk about its home. A graphics card is the complete hardware platform. It is the vessel that allows the GPU to do its job. If the GPU is the engine of a Ferrari, the graphics card is the entire car. An engine is useless without a chassis, wheels, a cooling system, and a fuel tank. Similarly, a GPU cannot function on its own. It needs several supporting systems: the PCB, printed circuit board, the city that everything lives on. It's the green or black board that routes electricity to the right places. VRAM, video random access memory, the warehouse right next to the GPU. The GPU needs to access data instantly, so it keeps its own dedicated memory on the card rather than using the slower system. RAM, the VRM, voltage regulator modules, the power station. It takes the raw power from your power supply and cleans it up so the sensitive GPU doesn't get fried. The cooling solution, the massive fans and metal fans. GPUs get incredibly hot, and without this air conditioning, the silicon would literally melt itself. Here is where the industry gets interesting. The brains, the GPU, are manufactured by only a few titans: NVIDIA, AMD, and recently Intel. They design the architecture. But the body, the graphics card, is often built by board partners like ASUS, Gigabyte, MSI, or EVGA. These companies buy the GPU chips from NVIDIA or AMD and then build their own. unique cooling systems and circuit boards around them. This is why you can buy an NVIDIA RTX 4080 that looks completely different depending on whether it's made by ASUS or MSI. The heart is the same, but the body is different. If the difference is so distinct, why does everyone from YouTubers to store clerks refer to the whole card as a GPU? It's a linguistic shortcut, a metonymy, where we use the most important part of a thing to represent the whole. It's like calling your car your wheels. Technically, wheels are just the rubber and metal circles at the bottom. But everyone knows you're talking about the entire vehicle. In the tech world, the GPU is the most expensive and most critical component of the card. It determines the performance, the price bracket, and the capabilities of the hardware. Because of this, even experienced engineers will say, "I just bought a new GPU," when they really mean they bought a 3-pound piece of hardware that plugs into their motherboard. While this shortcut is fine for casual conversation, it becomes a trap for the uninitiated. When you are troubleshooting, buying parts, or reading spec sheets, you must be able to switch between these two definitions. If you're looking for a GPU driver, you're looking for software for the chip. If you're looking for GPU sag, you're talking about the physical weight of the card bending under gravity. Words matter, especially when hundreds of dollars are on the line. When most people think of a gaming PC, they are thinking of a discrete graphics card. The terms discrete and dedicated are synonymous in this context, and they represent the gold standard of PC performance. A discrete graphics card is a standalone citizen of your PC. It lives in its own house, a PCI Express slot on the motherboard. It has its own bank account, VRAM. It has its own climate control, fans. The reason discrete is the preferred term for gamers and professionals is simple: isolation. By having its own dedicated memory and power delivery, it doesn't have to steal resources from the rest of the computer. It is a specialist built for one purpose: visual dominance. Whether you are rendering a 3D animation, editing 4K video, or playing the latest AAA game title, the discrete card is the powerhouse that makes it possible. It is the heavy lifter of the silicon world. But what if you don't have a massive desktop? What if you have a slim laptop that you use for work, but you want to play high-end games when you get home? Enter the eGPU, external graphics card. There's a common misconception that an external graphics card is a special, unique type of hardware. It's not. An external graphics card is almost always just a standard desktop discrete graphics card. The external part refers to the enclosure. Imagine a discrete graphics card living in a small external box with its own power supply. You connect this box to your laptop via a high-speed cable, usually Thunderbolt. This allows the laptop to borrow the power of the desktop card. The eGPU is the nomad of the tech world. It's a way to give a thin and light device the muscles of a giant. However, there's a catch. The highway, the cable isn't as wide as the connection inside a desktop. You lose a bit of performance in transit, but for many laptop users, it's a revolutionary way to bridge the gap between portability and power. On the opposite end of the spectrum from the discrete card, we find integrated graphics. If a discrete card is a standalone house, integrated graphics are like a roommate living in the CPU's guest bedroom. In this setup, the GPU cores are physically located on the same piece of silicon as the CPU. This sounds efficient, and in many ways, it is. It saves space, reduces heat, and costs much less. But it comes with a massive rent problem. Integrated graphics do not have their own VRAM, the warehouse we talked about earlier. Instead, they have to borrow memory from the system RAM, the same RAM your web browser and operating system are using. Imagine trying to cook a 5-course meal, rendering a game, but having to share your tiny kitchen counter with 3 other people who are doing their taxes. The CPU's tasks. It's crowded, it's slow, and things get messy. This is why integrated graphics are great for watching Netflix or doing office work, but they often crumble when faced with modern gaming. They are built for efficiency, not for power. Then there is the APU, Accelerated Processing Unit. This is a term coined by AMD to describe their specific brand of integrated graphics. Technically, an APU is just a CPU and a GPU on the same die, essentially the same definition as integrated graphics. However, AMD took a different marketing and engineering path. They decided to make the GPU roommate much stronger than the competition's. For years, AMD's APUs have been the kings of the no-graphics card world. They are the best option for budget builders who can afford a $400 graphics card, but still want to play games like League of Legends, Valorant, or Minecraft at decent settings. Is an APU a magic component? Not quite. It's still limited by the fact that it shares system memory. Even the most powerful APU today will struggle to beat an entry-level discrete graphics card from 3 years ago. But the APU represents a vital middle ground, a way for millions of people to enter the world of PC gaming without breaking the bank. It's the people's processor. We have traveled from the microscopic world of silicon chips to the bulky world of external enclosures. We've seen the genius, GPU, and the body, graphics card. We've met the heavy lifter, discrete, the nomad, external, and the roommate, integrated. The final takeaway is this. The GPU is the what, visual processing, and the graphics card is the how, the hardware platform. When you understand this, the world of PC building stops being a confusing maze and starts being a map. You realize that when someone complains about VRAM, they're talking about the warehouse on the card. When someone talks about NVIDIA versus AMD, they're talking about the engine design. When someone mentions ASUS versus Gigabyte, they're talking about the car body. This clarity allows you to make informed decisions. You won't be fooled by a pre-built PC ad that says, gaming GPU included, only to find out it's just integrated graphics. You'll know that if you want true performance, you need a discrete card. You'll know that if you're building a tiny office PC, an APU is your best friend. The story of the GPU and the graphics card is a microcosm of our modern world. We are surrounded by complex systems, financial, political, and technological, that use jargon to obscure simple truths. The jargon problem isn't unique to PC building. It's a feature of any specialized field. The advice I give to you as you step back into your daily life is to be a precision architect. Whether you are talking about technology, your career, or your relationships, strive for clarity in your language. Don't let interchangeable terms mask the reality of what you're dealing with. If you call things by their true names, you gain power over them. In the world of PCs, knowing the difference between a GPU and a graphics card might save you $500. In the world of life, knowing the difference between a problem and a symptom might save your sanity. Have you ever had a tech fail where you bought the wrong part because the names were too similar? Or perhaps you remember the first time you opened a PC and realized the graphics weren't just a magic spell, but a physical piece of hardware? What's one piece of tech jargon that still confuses you today? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be the exact light someone else needs to find their way through the jargon fog. If you found this deep dive helpful, if it cleared up some of the silicon smoke for you, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. We're here to demystify the digital world, one component at a time, and we'd love to have you along for the journey.